What's going on, YouTube? Jonathan and Sam here. We're getting ready for one of our many mock drafts that we are doing on this channel. You guys have been showing a lot of love recently, and we appreciate that. So we're bringing you the number one overall pick today, and this is going to be an interesting one for sure. There's a lot of question marks, not really at number one overall, but when the board gets back to you, headed on into the second round and the third round, your back-to-back picks, a lot of teams, probably have picked up two RBs at this point. So maybe finding a second RB may be a little difficult, but hopefully we can get a good one here for the PPR scoring format that we are running right now. I'm excited. Whenever you get Jonathan Taylor on the team, good things will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's going to be a really good pick. Obviously, we're taking Jonathan Taylor first. The fun part of this draft starts with the second round pick. We have back to back, so we're going to be able to secure some really good players, but it's PPR, so I'm worried some of the best receivers are already going to be off the board by the time it gets back around to us.
Well, we'll see what happens. If we can get some pass catching backs at the end of the second round and the beginning of the third, that would still be super beneficial because, of course, like I feel like the wide receivers are extremely saturated in the middle rounds of the draft. Like you can get really solid receivers headed into the fourth and the fifth round anyways. So even if it is a PPR, like if you're looking at guys like, James Conner at this pick, like he's not that much of the pass catching guy, but they don't have Chase Edmonds there anymore. Like who's going to be doing that workload? Will it go to Conner?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
game.
he's a standard stud, and I mean, how much worse is he really going to be in PPR than standard? He's still going to be getting you the touchdowns.
We might see some regression in the touchdowns. I feel like when you have such a season like that, like he did last year towards the end of the year, the touchdowns will automatically go down.
Yeah, the touchdowns will probably go down, but the yards will go up because now he's on splitting touches with Chase Edmonds. So probably balances itself out at the end anyways. Noah Morose, he said hello. How you doing? Thank you for joining chat. In just about 2.5 minutes, give or take, we're going to be starting our draft. This is going to be some fun time that we have here.
100%. Appreciate everybody tuning into the live streams. And if you are watching later on our YouTube channel, we appreciate the love you guys are sharing. Make sure to smash that like button if you guys are enjoying our content. But in a minute, the draft room is going to open. We'll start talking about the selections we're going to make. But right now, Sam, tell them a little bit about what we're doing at Bantam Broadcast right now, what we're trying to do with these live streams.
Yeah, we're pumping out live streams to you multiple times a week leading up into the NFL season. I know all of you guys are really actively engaged in your fantasy football leagues. A lot of you are probably in multiple fantasy football leagues. I know I'm personally in 3. You're probably in quite a few yourself. Yeah. And then you need some help. I mean, everybody loves seeing mock drafts. It's sometimes good to hear somebody else's perspective on mock drafts. We got the shorts coming at you from left and right, the way that you were expecting. Our 99 overall challenges, 82-0 challenges, everything you're used to seeing from the Banner Broadcast. But we got some big things in the works too. Some things we can't quite talk about yet, but definitely stay tuned. If you are a fan of this channel, we got some really big things coming. We're upgrading all of our production from left to right. We're getting new microphones. We're getting better stabilizers so we can make everything as high quality production for you guys as possible because you guys deserve the best.
Great speech, but it's time to head on into the draft room because we are looking at Jonathan Taylor right now. I mean, we could talk about him all day. The injury risk really isn't there with Jonathan Taylor. I mean, you get an injury risk with every player in the NFL, but when you're talking about Jonathan Taylor, like he's never been hurt in the NFL, knock on wood. He's had a healthy college career, and he dominated the NFL last season, having the most touchdowns, period, having one of the most efficient years as a runner, and being the bell cow back for Indiana.
Yeah, and I mean, this year he has a slightly better quarterback. The offense should be a little bit better. So, honestly, I expect him to take a step forward, as crazy as that sounds, rather than a step back. He's not going to regress in the opposite direction.
How does Matt Ryan affect him?
I mean, he's going to be putting the team more in the red zone, I think, than Carson Wentz ever could. He's not going to be throwing the ball away to the other team on accident as much as Carson Wentz did. So, yeah, the more chances running back has in the red zone, the better.
100%. Jonathan Taylor, if you go Christian McCaffrey at number one. I'd understand, especially in a PPR league, the upside that Christian McCaffrey provides for, Christian McCaffrey. If he could stay healthy, have a productive season, he's going to dominate for your team. The guy catches like 8 passes a game sometimes.
Mhm.
Like it's ridiculous. He'll be giving you the elusiveness of breaking tackles and scoring touchdowns while also giving you the PPR boost that Jonathan Taylor might not give you. So that's where you can, flip a coin and pick your poison with these two because they're both really good options.
Yeah, I think if you got the first pick though, you got to go with the safest option, not the guy coming off multiple injuries. Again, if you're flipping a coin, you just want to pick the side that's slightly better, and Jonathan Taylor is, I think, slightly better. If you even look at ESPN projections, it's only a 7-point difference between the two, 315 to 308.
In standard, it's much more of a drop off, which is what I was saying
Yeah.
about the Christian McCaffrey catching upside. That his ability as a pass catcher is definitely, he plays receiver too for this team sometimes, just like Kareem Hunt does in Cleveland. So we're definitely gonna, looking forward to start this draft in 40 seconds and give you guys some insight on how the first round goes, because we don't select with the first overall pick for quite some time after the first round. So yeah, Jonathan Taylor, 1.01.
Yeah, and if you're watching this live, comment below where you think this draft will go from a real mock draft to auto picks, because every single time we've done one around the 5th or 6th round, half of the league just drops out and we're just doing auto draft
I'd say closer to 10. Usually it lasts because the mid rounds is like where you make or break your draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people will stick around for that and
love that sound.
Just lock it in,
With
Sam.
the first overall pick, Banter Broadcast selects Jonathan Taylor.
Let's ride.
Henry is the most underrated back in fantasy. Yeah, especially for PPR formats, he's underrated. He doesn't really catch passes, and he's coming off injury. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. What do you think about that?
I don't know if he's underrated if we're qualifying him as a top 5 RB when Derrick Henry is a top 5 RB. So he might be the best pure running back in the NFL. But when we're talking about fantasy, just like you said that he's underrated in fantasy, it's that upside. As we see 2 wide receivers off the board, 3 wide receivers off the board early in this PPR format.
Yeah, I mean, that's not surprising. It's PPR. The receivers hold way more value in this, but I think that people still overestimate how important receivers are. If there's less great running backs than great receivers in the league, and if there's less supply, that means there's more demand. Get your running backs early. It'll save you so much headaches throughout the rest of your league.
So in a 10-team PPR setting, I do understand the value of taking wide receiver because a lot of people will. You still have guys like Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, who are elite pass catchers and provide an insane amount of PPR value that you can get later on in the beginning of the second round. So if you do want to like double stack on wide receiver, you can go one early and grab a second one, or you could go RB round 1 and still get one of those guys at the late second round.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're going to be able to snag a pretty decent receiver either in the second or the third, because remember, we have that back-to-back pick. We get 2 players, so we're guaranteed, what we like at that pick. We get 2 choices. At least one of them's got to pan out, right?
Hopefully. I'm looking to see if a wide receiver run happens anytime soon. We do still have big names on the board, and a wide receiver run will just benefit us at our position. But the running backs are still going off the board.
Yeah, this is I kind of like the way this draft is shaping up. This is very similar to the way that you will see your leagues going. We've had a few mock drafts on this channel so far where there were some really wonky things that happened, people trying some interesting strategies. I think this is the most similar to the types of drafts you will be seeing in your leagues, unless you're playing with either complete beginners or just some massive experts that have the inside scoop on some of these guys.
So by the looks of it, we're guaranteed, a really good pass catcher. I'm looking at Travis Kelce, unironically here. He is the best tight end in football, and he does, catch a boatload of targets. Tyreek Hill's not there in that offense, and I think he's just going to be relied on even more to be Patrick Mahomes' security blanket this season. So it might be an interesting selection if he's still there. We do have back-to-back picks, so if we do go Travis Kelce, we can stack and get a wide receiver if we need. But right now, if Devontae Adams is there, I might consider taking Travis Kelce and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I doubt Adam slips for 3 more picks, but we could always cross our fingers and hope for the best. But it looks like there's still, you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, I think even if we don't get Devontae Adams, like we could get Debo Samuel, CeeDee Lamb, or Tyreek Hill.
None of those you could go wrong with.
Exactly. So I think we are in really good shape. Hopefully Travis Kelce slips past this selection. Devontae Adams is still on the board, so let's see what.
Let's see if he survives one more pick.
Yeah, and then we will give you our analysis on whatever team call doesn't take.
Yeah, and you sure you like Travis over Mark Andrews?
Um,
I think we could lock in Devontae Adams, right? He slipped far, like way too far.
yeah,
for
we could
this.
definitely lock in Devontae Adams. Mark Andrews is going to be good. Mark Andrews is going to be very good. But do we want to go tight end? We could go Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams and Jonathan Taylor and just go big or go home, you know?
Yeah, I mean, every time we've done one of these drafts, we've been tempted with the tight ends, but then just one thing or another. Tyreek Hill, man, that's hard to pass up. We just talked up this whole time about how we're going to take Travis Kelce, but we did not expect Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill to both land at our pick.
So
this is PPR for crying out loud.
funny enough, like last season, I did a draft where I selected Devontae Adams with my first overall selection in the first round. I didn't have the first pick later in the first round, and then I selected Tyreek Hill when it came back to me. You know, I was ecstatic at the time. It didn't necessarily pan out, but those were my first 2 picks.
Yeah, you didn't.
We didn't have Jonathan Taylor on that team to be our main back. So this is definitely a very, very good team. We do get a lot of upside in the pass catching in the PPR format with our 2 selections with wide receiver. The problem is I don't know what running backs will be available for us come our time to pick.
Yeah, it will be that dead zone, and that's why it's really good that we have the highest upside running back in the league this year, Jonathan Taylor, with that first overall pick. Remember, when you have the first pick, you're waiting a long time between picks. That's 20 players worth of talent off the board every single time that you're waiting for your selection. So that means if we want a good player, we got to start looking in this range over here. Whether that's maybe a Zeke slips to us, which I doubt.
I don't even
like
want to
Josh
draft
Jacobs, Elijah Mitchell, one of these guys.
I don't even want to draft Zeke if he's there, Sam. I think that he's a no. Like I'm passing up on him in every single league.
He's a headache.
Not even that. They lost their best offensive lineman, and the offense is quite frankly terrible. Dak Prescott is worse without their offensive line at full health, and Ezekiel Elliott's gonna just split snaps with Tony Pollard, and maybe get some of the red zone work, but I don't know. I just don't see it being a successful year for Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, it's a tough year, and for all the reasons CeeDee Lamb is looking so good, Zeke is looking way worse. When that line cannot hold, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to just try to throw it over the top and hope for the best that your receiver makes a play, right? You're not going to give it to the running back just to get crushed by the other side. We got 9 picks until our turn. Still some really big names on the board. If we did want to go tight end, Kyle Pitts is still there, but there's some good running backs.
I'm looking at David Montgomery and J.K. Dobbins here at our next selection. Or if we wanted to just go pure talent and take Josh Allen, if he's still there, I wouldn't mind as well. But Ezekiel Elliott actually goes off the board before J.K. Dobbins and David Montgomery, which I think is a big mistake.
Yeah, I don't know. Those guys, I mean, this is starting to be that RB dead zone, the infamous RB dead zone, where it's really hard to evaluate players individually because they're all kind of in the same tier, which works out for us because we just get to pick whoever is remaining. The decision's made for us. But I'm glad we don't have to pick Zeke if we don't want to.
100%. And if both of our guys are gone, I think Josh Allen's a good answer for us. I mean, he still could be a good answer for us. We have back-to-back selections here, so we could definitely just go RB and then quarterback, and get the best quarterback in football.
Yeah,
for fantasy.
I'm totally cool with that. I'm not going to complain about that. If we could get one of the running backs that's still left here, Montgomery or Dobbins, We have 2 more picks left, and Travis Etienne is off the board, so it looks like we will be getting
Who do
either
you
Montgomery or
who
Dobbins.
do you like better?
I don't know. I think they both have really big bust potential, so they're high risk. But if Dobbins can be healthy, which is a big if, I like him a little better than Montgomery. I just don't really trust the offense of Chicago. What do you think?
I think we just got what we wanted in our lap. I don't trust Chicago's offense at all. I think J.K. Dobbins could have a
Hmm.
great bounce back year. I think we're gonna go J.K. Dobbins and Josh Allen.
Absolutely.
This team's shaping out to be very, very entertaining. I mean, look at the names we have on this roster. If you're going against this in a PPR format, I would kind of look the other way because it is a scary team to play against for sure.
Yeah, remember that first overall pick, as enticing as it is, as fun as it is to take the best player, you're going to have a long time between picks. There's going to be a big drop off in talent. So when you could snag guys like Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill back to back in the second and third round, you're on the moon. And not necessarily this is what's going to happen in your drafts, because I can't imagine both of those guys slipping in a PPR format league. At least one of them might. And that's where you're going to be building around this league. So, I mean, I'm really thrilled with the way this team is turning out.
100%. The roster's looking amazing. Maybe we can go for a tight end next time it comes around to us. If a tight end run doesn't go, we just
Well,
saw
Darren Waller
Waller.
just off
Yeah.
the board. And, I mean, let's just see what tight ends are even left, because I don't want to reach on a tight end if we don't have to. There's really only George Kittle who I would reach on. I wouldn't reach for Dalton Schultz or TJ Hawkinson. When you could get like a Zach Ertz or a Pat Fryermuth like later in the draft, like later in the draft. So unless George Kittle is there, I'm not reaching for a tight end. What do you think?
No, I hear you. George Kittle's probably not going to be there. I'm assuming one team is going to go tight end before we do, which is okay because we're going to be looking to upgrade our flex position. Maybe get a good backup running back in for our squad as well. So I'm looking here at, Josh Jacobs if he's still there. I highly doubt he's going to be there. But there's a lot of good players at this level. Like you could still get starting caliber running backs in the NFL, but they're not going to be the workhorses immediately. They still have good upside. Like for instance, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a decent football player. Like he's very good, but he hasn't had great fantasy production over the past few years. With the hole in this offense missing from Tyreek Hill, people are going to have to step up and get all those receptions that he did. You got guys like Juju Smith-Schuster there, and Sky Moore, the rookie there. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I'm going to look for him to get some action out of the backfield and as a pass catcher in this offense. So that could be a good selection in PPR formats. I don't really like him for standard, though.
Yeah, I don't know how many touchdowns he's going to be getting. I think that's why Travis Kelce had so much value while we were looking at getting him, until we had that absolute luck in acquiring Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill. Because, yeah, the main beneficiary of Tyreek Hill being gone is definitely going to be Travis Kelce. But Travis Kelce can't do it all. Someone else has to step in. That's why people are kind of high on Juju this year, which, I mean, you as a Steelers fan have some experience with Juju having a lot of hype and then not performing. But, I mean, this year, new offense, new quarterback, maybe it'll work out for him. But, yeah, I do think Edwards-Helaire does get some benefit from that as well, especially in the pass-catching department, like you said.
Yeah, 100%. There's got to be somebody to pick up the slack that, you're missing one of the best receivers in football now. And there's definitely going to be somebody that steps up and does that. And I think Hilaire is, poised to do that. So hopefully he makes it to us. I don't think so. But if we could choose Josh Jacobs or Hilaire at our selection, I would be extremely thrilled.
Yeah, I would be pretty confident at least one of them will slip. I don't think both will, but we don't need both to slip. And let's just say that neither of them do. We're still looking at like a Singletary or Miles Sanders, who they are more headache players.
I'm not. I'd rather go wide receiver than take those two guys, if I'm being honest.
It's fair. Okay, so we got 3 picks left, and 2 of our guys are still on the board.
I still like Amari Cooper and Michael Thomas here. Michael Thomas more than Amari Cooper.
Yeah, Michael Thomas more. If we wanted, we could go with Kittle, who's still there. We were talking about getting a tight end. This is right around that round where it's not a reach to take a good tight end. I'd prefer running back tight end, but if both of our running backs are off the board, which they're not, I don't
Hilaire
think.
is still on the board.
But we're waiting for one more pick. So if Hilaire is there, I'm going Hilaire, Kittle. If Hilaire's not there, I'm going Kittle and
Thomas.
Thomas. Yeah.
I like that.
Um, yeah, you just got to strategize on the move, right? You just got to see how the draft plays out. We're waiting for team call for a few more seconds here to make their pick. And Hilaire does end up coming down to us, and Kittle is on the board too. Can we just lock in our picks?
100%.
All right. 1 and 2.
I really like the way this team is shaping out. Like, if you have the number one overall pick and this is what your team looks like, after the 7th round of the draft, like, you're prized, you're poised to have a prize season. Maybe even win your league. You just have upside at every single position. You have players at every position that could pop off for 20 at every given game. I mean, Josh Allen, maybe even 30 or 40. Jonathan Taylor, probably the same thing. J.K. Dobbins, I expect him to have a great bounce back here after a disappointing preseason injury last year. And you don't even need to talk about Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill again. Those are your money makers. And then you get George Kittle and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who are really, really versatile weapons who, could see a large uptick in value this season. George Kittle, we know what he's going to do. He's one of the best tight ends in football. And getting him in the 7th round is a steal regardless of how you put it.
Yeah, my least favorite player on this team so far is Edwards-Helaire. He's the biggest question mark, the biggest project, if you will. But everybody else just has such high upside. It can more than make up for it if you don't like that. Also, we can maybe go even another wide receiver later who might end up taking that flex spot from Edwards-Helaire later on, depending on how the season plays out. We just wanted a backup running back just in case an injury happens. But either way, 3 running backs who are all the clear RB1 on their team. Not really a committee. No one's really threatening their touches. I don't think Gus Edwards is going to be much of a threat for J.K. Dobbins. The only running back that's taking his touches is Lamar Jackson.
We make that joke a lot on this channel, but Lamar Jackson is a great fantasy value because he does run the ball a lot, and he, is very good at throwing the ball as well.
Absolutely.
But the running upside is just crazy. That's why we went Josh Allen, because he's a runner as well as one of the best throwers in football. So, like, you can't go wrong if you get one of the most talented players. And we just saw a QB run go in this last round, which benefits us because we don't need it. We saw Lamar, Kyler, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts go all off the board. We are primed for a good player because of that QB slide. That's you benefit sometimes from taking QB early. I know you sacrifice one of your early round picks for it, but you get these QB runs in your rounds that can give you a better player at this value.
Yeah, you don't want to be the worst position to be in is at the end of the run. You don't want to be the one just left holding the scraps, whatever people didn't want to take. So you either want to preemptively take the player or you want to stack up on so much talent early that you could take the scraps later but still have the value that you didn't miss out. You're not in a lose-lose, right? This is cool, though. I think that we're going to definitely have a nice receiver slip here, and maybe even like a Kareem Hunt I'd like to take as a backup. He's a pass-catching back for PPR formats. That's really valuable. What do you think? One receiver, one running back? Or?
Yeah, right. At this ADP, I'm looking at Drake London. I think he could have a big year for the Atlanta Falcons. He could be the main wide receiver target for this offense, and deservedly so. He's an amazing player. Christian Kirk also just got the bag in Jacksonville, so I like his upside. I don't know how he's going to fit because offense isn't the best, but let's see what we can get.
Trevor Lawrence has to throw to somebody, right? And I guess if you're betting on anyone, I'd rather bet on Lawrence than.
There goes our guy, though. So hear me out, Sam. Are you willing to go Kareem Hunt and Antonio Gibson?
Antonio Gibson's a big question mark, obviously, with the news last night, as this live, that his backfield mate was shot. I don't know if that's safe for YouTube, but I hope it is. He's gonna have more touches, but this is just a very unfortunate situation all around. So I just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, if you want to go Antonio Gibson, at least for the first few weeks, he's gonna have a lot of upside.
Okay, let's do it.
Just an unfortunate reason for why he's going to be having that upside.
Mm-hmm.
And we just wanted to not make light of the situation by just talking about the fantasy aspect
No,
of
of
it.
course, of course. Um, and Banter broadcast best wishes, Sam and myself. Best wishes go out to Brian Robinson and
Hmm.
his family, and we hope he has a speedy recovery.
Absolutely. Some things are just bigger than football, right?
100%. And you can't talk about it like an injury because it's
Hmm.
not like he got you know.
Yeah, it's different when a player gets hurt on the football field,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's their job. That's what they're doing. They signed up for that risk. This is just different.
All right, let's shift our focus back
Yeah.
to fantasy football. Our best wishes go out to them, but our team's looking good.
Our
Um,
receivers are a little thin. We need some receivers. I just want to filter through receiver because I don't see us taking another running back anytime soon.
let's see who's on the board for us. I think we should see a tight end run go. It's getting to that point where there's the mid-level tight ends. We just saw Dalton
Mhm.
Schultz go off the board. Probably T.J. Hawkinson going next.
And we just get to sit back, kick our feet up, and not have to worry about uh, ending up with some very low level tight end. We got George Kittle out here.
So if you want to start a queue, we can. I would love Elijah Moore. I would love
Mhm.
Kadarius Toney. I would love Robert Woods.
You like Robert Woods this year?
Yeah, he's the number one wide receiver in Tennessee.
You think he's gonna have that AJ Brown role from last year?
Yeah, I mean he could. He's very good, so I
Mhm.
wouldn't be surprised. Um, Now we're getting a little suspect on wide receiver, so hopefully one of those guys slides to us.
Yeah, maybe Valdez Scantling. Again, same reason that we were talking about Juju earlier. Valdez Scantling is going to be a really high upside player. There's a lot of touches to go around in Kansas City, but just looking out who else is left. I mean, Devontae Parker's a very late round pick, not really right now
Mm-hmm.
uh, player. Same with George Pickens, really good late round pick. He's gonna have some upside. He's a beast. But yeah, already one of our Q guys is off the board, Elijah Moore. So hopefully Kadarius Toney or
I even
Robert
like
Woods.
Garrett Wilson as well. I took him in a draft last night.
Mhm.
He promises a lot of upside in that New York Jets offense, and he's getting a lot of praise in that locker room as well. Could emerge as the number 2 targeted in this offense, and really get a saturated amount of touches.
Yeah. Also, Lake Cheesy, what's up, man? Thank you for joining us. Everybody else that's just joining in, if you are liking this draft so far, make sure to let us know. And if you're not liking this draft, let us know what to take. We got Kadarius Toney slipped to us and Robert Woods slipped to us. That's our cue. You want to just go?
I'm down to take both.
Yeah, just don't think about it. Just take the two guys on our
Mhm.
queue and be happy.
100%.
Yeah, our receivers were a little thin. These are the first receivers we've taken since the third round, and it's round 11 now. So,
Well, we needed to make up for it because
Mhm.
when you select first overall and go 2 wide receivers, the running backs you're going to get are, hit or miss players next time it comes to you. So we had to jump on the guys like, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, get a safer play in PPR formats with Kareem Hunt, and, Antonio Gibson's going to be a beneficiary in this new look Commanders offense with Carson Wentz at the helm.
absolutely. I'm a little surprised that Rashad Penny slipped as far as he did. Maybe if we didn't take like an Antonio Gibson or something, and we just went receiver, we could have gotten Rashad Penny this late.
I like Rashad Penny a little bit, but I
Mhm.
think Ken Walker the third, the rookie running back that the Seahawks, just selected this past
Mhm.
year, it's going to emerge as a player in this offense. He was dealing with a minor injury during the
Mhm.
preseason. I think he had a minor procedure, but he should be ready for week 1. Ken Walker is an interesting upside pick later on in your drafts if you want to go target him.
Mhm.
He's actually next on the running back queue or an all position queue. I took him in my league last night, and I was very happy with the selection.
Yeah, he is a high upside guy for a very, very late round, I guess, sleeper, if you want to call it that. This Seahawks team is such a mess for fantasy because there's no way of knowing. I think they announced that Geno Smith is going to
They
be their
did.
starter instead of Drew Lock, which, say what you will. I don't know if that helps or hurts DK and Tyler Lockett. Maybe it helps, maybe it hurts. Hard to tell. Running backs by committee, probably.
Yeah.
At least first few weeks, I think Rashad Penny is the clear number one because Kenneth Walker's coming off of surgery, but probably by week 3 or 4, they're going to be splitting touches. It's a tough team to evaluate. If I were you, I would stay away from them unless you're getting them really late in the draft.
So, Sam, we took Antonio Gibson earlier. Brian Robinson's on the board. I know the news just came out recently, but I do still believe in his upside and his ability to play football at an extremely high level and emerge as, one of the lead backs in this Washington core. So I feel like it would be, if we do go Gibson, it would be safe to go Robinson here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I hope he has a really speedy recovery.
Show us the receivers.
But now, Tyler Boyd is still here.
I like Tyler Boyd as well.
I like that
in a
as a
PPR
pick.
format. I like Tyler Boyd as well. I think our team's coming out well rounded.
Yeah, me too. Again, just one injury to like a T. Higgins or Jamar Chase gets double coverage every play, and Tyler Boyd instantly comes out on top there. High upside guy, especially this late. I wouldn't recommend drafting Tyler Boyd early, but this late, you can't go wrong with Tyler Boyd.
100%.
Interesting strategy, getting both of the Commanders running backs, but something that could pan out for you if you do decide to go with that strategy in your draft. Do we need to take another player here, or can we go with our kicker and defense and then just get our sleeper in round 16? What do you think?
I think we should go player here. And you know who?
What's up?
George Pickens.
Where is he? He's not even in the top of the queue. He's probably going to slip, right? Unless he's already.
Nah, we don't want to risk it, Sam. Let's just take our guy. I don't really care about defense or kicker at all. Search him on the top right.
Let's see. Pickens. He was already drafted.
Unlucky.
That's why I was like, I don't see him. Where is he? We can still get like a DJ Chark. Detroit wide receivers. I was talking about Devontae Parker earlier. He might be a high upside here.
I think Jarvis Landry could be a good PPR option in New Orleans with, Jameis Winston being, having to saturate those targets between a bunch of receivers.
Let's go with Landry as our clock runs out. And honestly, let's see. I think Tucker's already been taken, so let's just go with a good defense. What's your favorite defense of the bunch? Colts are really good.
I like the Colts and I like the Niners.
All right.
You decide.
Let's go with the Colts. And now we're just getting our, pick made for us basically with kicker, because all the other kickers will be gone by the time that we get to us.
You can't really go wrong with kicker. Like, it's a kicker.
Mm-hmm.
You just do what you got to do.
Yeah, you're streaming your kickers and defenses most of the time anyways. Just, what the matchup is. Is it indoor, outdoor? It's pretty easy stuff with kicker and defense.
Weather conditions.
Mm-hmm. Not quite sure what that sound was.
You added Harrison Butker to our queue by accident.
Ah.
And that's the sound when a player gets off your queue.
Makes sense. I was like, okay.
So we're seeing defenses and kickers go, and then some teams who took defense and kicker earlier are just selecting their scraps players at the end of the draft.
Mostly players from round 13 to 16 if you're still drafting players. Very unlikely they make it to your final roster. You're going to be cutting them for guys on the waiver up until pretty much the start of the season.
If I had to make a selection here,
Suck up
or Dustin Hopkins, go with the most electric offenses left. Dustin Hopkins is probably in the better offense, the more offense that's, I don't know, the less fundamental offense, the more electric offense. So if you want to root for that team.
All right, let's do a quick recap, and then we're out of here. With our first overall pick, we did get the first overall pick, as you could see in the title and thumbnail. We got Jonathan Taylor, and then we got super lucky. We went back-to-back. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. We have such a solid PPR core. By the way, as you can see at the top over there, it says subscribe to Banter Broadcast. So if you haven't done that already, make sure to smash the subscribe button. But what else? What's your favorite pick that we've got?
I would probably have to say Josh Allen. Getting him in the fifth round is crazy value. If that happens in your draft, you will be jumping up and down because you're getting the running back value, you're getting the QB value, and you're getting one of the most electric offenses in the NFL and passing touchdowns from Josh Allen. We saw Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis go crazy. And he's just going to do it again, and you're getting a fantastic player. We then got Hilaire, Kittle, Kareem Hunt. Scroll down for me, Sam. We got the two Commanders backs in Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson. Kadarius Toney and Robert Woods are two really exciting players. Kadarius Toney could emerge as a wide receiver one in this offense, and be a consistent high level fantasy player week in and week out if this Giant offense takes that next step with Saquon coming back healthy. Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry, Colts, and Dustin Hopkins. You just got to go with your gut at the end of the draft. Take the better players because these players might not even be on your roster by the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, defensive kicker, you're streaming, so you don't have to reach early. I saw people reaching early, at least last night when we did our draft. People were reaching on Justin Tucker, I think around 11 or 12. Yeah, Justin Tucker might be the only kicker worth reaching on, but even then, you're just going with whoever has the best matchup for the week. You're looking at projections. You're looking at, what team they're playing against matchups. I wouldn't overextend yourself on those positions. And anyone else at the bottom of the draft, Tyler Boyd, Jarvis Landry, you're just taking guys you think might have high upside, but it's just however the cookie crumbles at that point with the rest of your draft.
And that's it, guys. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed our analysis, and if you enjoyed our selections, or if you didn't, let us know in the comments. Let us know what you would have done differently, or if we hit it right on the money. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and Banter Broadcast out.